Hi, I'm Liz from Fast Kitty Crafts. Today we'll be making this beautifully textured yet beginner-friendly hat. You only need to know 2 stitches and you're on your way to make this trendy, chunky hat in just one sitting. I only used 1 ball of this bulky weight size 5 yarn I purchased from Michaels. It's in the color sage green. And you will also need a size N or 10mm crochet hook. First we'll start with a slip knot and then chain 9. And now we'll join to the first chain with a slip stitch and then chain 24. This ring you just created will become the top of our hat. Now we've come to the end of our chain, we'll turn it over, and then in the second chain from the hook, we will place a chainless double crochet. All it is 2 single crochets stacked on top of each other. So start with 1 single crochet and then turn it to the side, and then make another single crochet in those 2 side loops. I always like beginning my double crochet rows like this. It just looks nicer and they're easier to work into. And now work double crochets to the end of the row. I always like to work into the back of the chains. It's that back little bump that's behind the V's. It's more secure and then it's easier to work into this row later. At the end of this row, you will have 23 double crochets. And now we've reached the end of the chain. From here, we will do a slip stitch into the ring we made. Just insert your hook into the ring, pull up a loop, and then pull through the loop on your hook. And now chain 1, turn, skip your chain and that slip stitch, and then slip stitch into the back loop of your first double crochet. And in case you're new, the back loop is just that loop that's farthest away from you on the top of the V that appears on the top of each stitch. And then we'll just be slip stitching into the back loops to the end of the row. And be sure to keep your slip stitches loose so they'll be easier to work into later. And then your last slip stitch goes into your chainless double crochet, nice and easy. And now we'll chain 1, turn, and start with another chainless double crochet in that first slip stitch. And we'll be working into the back loops of these slip stitches to the end of the row. And just proceed with double crochets into the back loops to the end of the row. And you can see our pretty rib texture is shaping up nicely. And there is a right side and a wrong side to your fabric, but the wrong side looks interesting too. And now we're coming to the end of our row. Be sure you don't miss any of the slip stitches. I actually have to count all of the double crochets, make sure I have 23 stitches in each row, because sometimes it's hard to tell where those slip stitches are. And now we'll just slip stitch into the ring again like we did before. And now we'll just chain 1, turn, skip your chain in your first slip stitch, and then slip stitch into the back loops to the end of the row. So at the end of each of these double crochet rows, we'll be working those slip stitches into the ring, and so these will start to bunch up as you go along. But you can just slide them together, and this creates the gathers at the top of the hat. And now just repeat your slip stitch and double crochet rows until your piece measures 18 inches wide, or as wide as will fit around your head. Oh, and be sure to end with a slip stitch row. Now we're going to stitch up the hat with some slip stitches, so just turn it right side in. And continuing with our yarn, we'll chain 1, turn, and then work slip stitches into the back loops of each of these 2 rows. So just insert your hook into the first back loop and then into the other back loop. Yarn over, and then pull through all of the loops. This creates a nice invisible seam on the inside, which makes it nearly impossible to see on the outside. And then when you reach the end, finish off with a long tail, because we'll be using this tail to stitch up the top of the hat. Just grab your large needle, and this is the way I like to stitch seam. I work in a zigzag, placing the needle from the inside to the outside, but you can use any stitch technique that you prefer. At this point you can finish off and weave in your ends, but for the video I'm speeding things up, and then you just turn it inside out and roll up the bottom and you're all done. And now continue watching and I'll show you how to make your own DIY leather tag. Start off with a small scrap of leather cut into the shape of your choice. And you'll also need a dark brown marker. All I had at home was this furniture repair marker. And then I drew out a circle with pencil and then just go over your design with the marker. This is a quick cheater way just to make one tag. I didn't want to buy a whole set of tags at this point, so this was a good option. The dark brown marker kind of looks like it's burnt into the leather. And then to make the holes for sewing, just grab a large nail and a hammer and then poke your holes through the leather. And then just place your tag anywhere you like near the edge of the brim. And then I used a size 10 crochet cotton and then sewed it on with the large needle. I think these leather tags give a really cool custom look to your beanie. And here's your completed beanie. I love the pretty rib texture and the tag. It makes it look way more expensive than it really is. I have a hard time even finding where the seam is. I think it is right there in the middle, but you can barely see it. I hope you enjoyed crocheting with me today, and if you did, I hope you consider subscribing and join me again next time for another fun project. Bye for now.